Okay, we're going to take a look at a requested topic here. The question is pretty much um, is there a way out of this big layer of fear, or the vibration of fear, we'll say? Um, the fear is being basically baked into people, all the sources of media are trying to get us to be afraid of everything, including the air and other people and all of this stuff. And it people don't make good choices when they are full of fear. And if you have mass populations that are full of fear, that can be pretty dangerous. So let's just see what we get here. Is there a path out of all of the fear? The root card is the hangman, and the main card is the sun. Okay, so the root card being the hangman happens because there's a different perspective that is necessary. Now, right away, this is meaning a couple different things. I mean, a different perspective probably is the way to get out of the place of fear. But the place of fear in itself is also a different perspective. It usually isn't one that, if you obsess about it, it's not particularly helpful. But a little bit of fear can lead to making a good decision, like don't pet the tiger, that sort of thing, you know? So the hangman on the bottom, this massive shift toward fear could be just getting a different perspective on things. So maybe at the end of a certain period, then the person would be wiser, having seen another thing. The hangman would also say that just looking at things from a different direction could lead out of the place of fear. But then the hangman is underneath the sun, and the sun is just shameless truth, right? Shameless expression of truth and also just acceptance. So, one of the other things that the sun is kind of saying, other than just like trying to be honest with who you are and accepting of other people, there might be something about the actual rays of the sun, that might affect this in some way. So, let's just look at kind of what goes around the sun. This would be the movement like before and then during and then after, I guess. So, a Two of Cups, which is the momentary version of the sun. So, the sun is openness and freedom and truth and all of that. And the Two of Cups is when that happens in a specific moment. So, it's just like a temporary version of the much bigger energy. But the Two of Cups is like just trying to be open to what is happening now. And it is almost entirely true with fear that fear is either about the future or the past. It's rarely about what is happening in that moment. And the two is like just observing and being present in the moment and just being truthful and honest and open. Now that moves forward to the world. And I mean, if there is a path out, right, a path out of fear, the world would show that because it's the gateway, it's the portal to the next world, the end of the chapter. Now, in this, one thing that I've noticed, because I spent a few months in Bosnia last year, and when I had been there for about a month and a half, I felt all of this anxiety and fear. It left me. It left me in like one breath. And I was like, what was that? And it was America. It was all of the shit that goes with America. So, one of the things that I had learned is that the fear is far more pervasive in America, and there might be just different places that you could go to shed this stuff, you know? Maybe sunny places. So this essentially looks like it's about being open to the moment and sort of seeing what is actually happening there and being truthful with yourself and also accepting of others. And that all makes sense. Let's just see if there's like a higher energy at work here. And we get a 5 of Wands. So that's chaos and competition. Let's see if there's anything in the card itself that's kind of sticking out. Huh. What, because this is like the higher energy, right? The way that this would make sense to me is like in a lot of the sacred texts. Well, maybe not even, because I don't know shit about sacred texts, but they talk about a war in heaven, right? And it's a bunch of different energies that are kind of competing to figure out which one is going to be the most dominant. So there might be a bunch of different layers of energy that are kind of jockeying for position. And in in the material world now, especially in America, it seems that fear, if fear is one of these things, I think it's at the top and it's winning, you know? But this might be just a lower world version of some higher mix of energies that's going on. But as far as us, for ourselves, I mean, if fear is gripping your life, try to see things from a different perspective, from a different angle, and then it's pretty much about being in the actual moment that you are in and seeing what is there. That all makes sense to me. Um, Now, I am going to pull one more card because looking at this, and to me, this does kind of talk about a higher wave of energy and a bunch of different ones, like a war in heaven. So let's look at the source of this fear. And it's like almost tangible, it's certainly in America. And we get the chariot. And the chariot is directed energy moving toward a specific place. I'm going to pull one more card on this because there's a lot of different things that could mean. And it's the reverse Hierophant. So this is directed energy, directed by. Now, this isn't the devil, right? But this is a backlash against the traditional power structures. So this is the church. In our modern world, this is the banks and the government. But this is also the traditional churches and all of that stuff. And it's a backlash specifically moving against it and directed energy moving toward. So that would make this look more like a war in heaven. In my understanding, I wouldn't exactly consider the Hierophant the opposite of fear, right? Because many people's fear comes from traditional structures and churches and shit like that. But this does look like there is a specific movement sort of made to crumble these power structures. And that part of the waves of fear are from that. So that's what we get here. I would be interested to hear anyone's take on this. And if you have any requests of topics you would like me to look at, feel free to let me know. And peace.